So the Exodus debate continues after what was probably one of United's best home performances of the season last night. The best was left until last, and everything else that went on after the game. Lots of interviews, lots of conversations, lots of farewells, lots of goodbyes. You would hope that there's going to be plenty more of them. There's just some players that probably don't deserve the goodbyes that they get, and it's probably just going to just quietly walk away in the background. Forever United TV. It is the morning after, or the lunchtime after the night before, of when Manchester United fans walked away from Old Trafford for the last time this season. Will it be the last time with Sir Alex Ferguson, with Eric Ten Hag as manager? We don't know. I think a lot depends on the next two games and whether United can turn up against Brighton, who we have got a shocking record against, and obviously the big one against City in the FA Cup final. There was a lot of positives from last night, and it was good to walk out of Old Trafford feeling a little bit uplifted by a decent team, energetic team performance. We're talking about Amrabat, we're talking about Bruno Fernandes, Wayne Rooney's comments mainly on the show today in terms of what he thinks United need to do, who needs to go and who needs to stay. Some interesting comments there, interesting reactions, and Bruno's interview, very, very strange. Again, that's twice now that he's been speaking to the media. I don't know if the emotions got hold of him last night. I don't know if it was anything to do with that. We've seen Ten Hag pulling him away from the cameras and the Sky Sports Man of the Match award being awarded to him. It was a very strange one last night, but yeah, a few boos for Ten Hag when he took to the mic. I think they were outpowered by the cheers eventually. Not many stayed behind. A lot of fans just made their way to the exit door, really couldn't be bothered with giving this team anything after what's happened this season. That was a sort of general consensus I got from outside of the stadium as well, but there's plenty to talk about, and plans for ineos and some meetings that have been going on which do implement what goes on this summer. I want to bring you that as well and read through that and get your thoughts on that information as well. Get involved in the poll, guys. We've got that going right now. For anyone who's catching up later and can't see the poll is: do United, or should we consider paying the 21 million clause in the loan fee for Sofyan Amrabat? He's had a couple of good games. He in himself has said, look, I'm not at my best still. I just need more consecutive games. This is the first time he started 2 games in a row all season. So do we need to look at that? It's interesting, after a couple of performances, everyone's thoughts changed. Everyone's vision for the football club, and everyone's like sort of the negative side of what we were watching disappears with one good result and one good performance. Yes, it's fantastic, it is, but let's ground ourselves and take in what this season has been. It's not over yet, and there's a lot more to come, and it could be a very eventful last week of the season for Manchester United. But 72% of you on the poll have said you would now keep Sofyan Amrabat. 2 weeks ago, if I'd have put that poll up, it'd have been completely role reversed, probably even more than what it is now. 73% now that's gone up to. Get voting in the poll, guys. Let me know what you think. There's a few people who've actually said no way in the chat. A few people have always said like 2 games for Amrabat, and everyone wants to keep him all of a sudden. It's an ever-changing scope with players at Manchester United. It really is. I'm going to leave that poll running for a while. Isaac with a super chat. I would listen to you over Mark every day. I'm the GOAT. I love that comment. And of course you want to listen to me over everybody else, because I just tell it you straight. And from my watching of the game last night, I'm going to get into that. I give a lot of my thoughts on the vlog last night. Cheers for watching all the vlogs. We had loads of people come on wanting their say for the last home game of the season. They're all on the channel, including the press conference, brought to you by haters as well, guys. So make sure you tune in after the show and watch through all of that content while you're on your lunch break today, or whatever you're doing. Please give the video a like as well, guys. Let's get on the road to getting up there past 200 again. I know that's possible. I'm doing well, Kane. Hope you all doing well in the chat, guys. I hope everyone has had a decent morning or afternoon or evening, wherever you're watching in the world, after watching that game yesterday. It was uplifting a little bit just to see some youthful energy in Manchester United's side, and players playing that weren't playing before, that didn't get the chance earlier on this season. And I think that's what everyone was taken away from the game last night. Players that played that haven't been given a real opportunity this season. Obviously, the likes of Ahmad and Amrabat were top of everybody's list last night, and would be good to see more of the same. Is he going to change it? We'll get into that. But first of all, I want to talk about Wayne Rooney. His comments for Sky Sports yesterday, very, very interesting from Wayne Rooney in terms of the senior players at Manchester United, the younger players. He pulled out Bruno Fernandes, the captain of Manchester United, and said that Manchester United need to keep Bruno Fernandes. You build around him. You don't sell him, and you build around Bruno Fernandes with the younger players. So Ahmad, Garnacho, Rasmus Højlund, Kobbie Mainoo, all starred last night. Every single one of them. It was brilliant. It was good to see. Great. Do you know what? The icing, I loved it when Rasmus came on and scored. 15 for the season. I mean, come on. A guy who scored 9 in Serie A last season for an average Atalanta side, for the price tag that he was bought for the hate and the abuse that he's been getting from a lot of the fan base over the last few weeks as well. The pressure with everything going on at Manchester United. Wow, 15 goals. You have to say well done to Rasmus. I think everyone would have taken that from him. Now, can he move on from that? That depends on the development and what Manchester United do this summer, what players come in and who is managing the side, obviously. Is it going to be a coach rather than a manager? We've spoke about that as well. So that's what I want to see now, the younger players taking that next step instead of taking a step backwards, which a lot of the time does happen with Manchester United, and we've seen it. And last night before the game, you see Marcus Rashford as well. Getting into an altercation with a fan on the sideline. Why is he doing it? I don't know. Just ignore him. To me, it didn't sound like it was much abusive. It was more in terms of like pull your finger out and start playing for Manchester United, start playing for the shirt again. He cannot take any criticism, it seems, Marcus Rashford. That's his problem. He surrounds himself with positivity. And Wayne Rooney was going into this as well. He just said regarding Marcus Rashford, and I think he's very important, is, look, we know that Marcus Rashford has got the capabilities to play at the top level. We just haven't seen it yet. So that, for me, straight away, is a massive, massive red flag. I don't know if Wayne Rooney realised what he was saying when he made that comment, but that, at 26 for Marcus Rashford, that's game over. I'm sorry. He isn't going to make it now, at the age of 26, from the potential that we've seen already. Better. I don't see him getting any better than where he is. And at Manchester United in particular, with the way that this is going forward, if Ten Hag is going to still be in situ at this football club, the Marcus Rashford's days are numbered, I feel. I think they're numbered whoever comes in now. And the only man that can save Marcus Rashford is Gareth Southgate. I think even Ten Hag is starting to realise, and the pressure is mounting. Like, Ten Hag's job is on the line. You cannot rely on Marcus Rashford. So I think we may see Ahmad. The biggest mistake that Ten Hag can make now is bringing Rashford back in ahead of Ahmad. That will just send everything that happened last night backwards, and everyone will forget about all of the good that came of that performance last night against Newcastle. That's a guarantee. It will. The fan base will turn on him. Because everybody knows, look, even the people that want to back Ten Hag know that if he starts bringing Marcus Rashford in, a player that has down tools this season and has not give a toss about United, then the fans will just blame Ten Hag because he's got options not to play him. So right now he's probably done himself a load of good in what he did last night and how he handled that, keeping Rashford on the bench. I didn't know where we were going with the two centre-forwards sat on the bench and a midfielder up front, two centre-backs sat on the bench and a midfielder at centre-back. But it kind of confused Newcastle a bit, and it worked for him. It worked for him. So what players do survive, in Wayne Rooney's eyes, the likes of Marcus Rashford, the other senior players that are out injured, all have to go. We would keep Bruno Fernandes as the only senior player. Over the next 2 years, United need to rinse that squad of anyone that has been at the club for, well, that as long as we know. The obvious players that come to mind in that are starting to be sieved out of the football club right now, like the Lindelofs, like the Martials, players like this, Brandon Williams. All of the players that have been around Manchester United for a while, they're the ones we're starting to see them leave this season on free transfers. Next season, there's going to be big options as well for ineos to choose from, because we're going to have a lot more, the likes of Harry Maguire and Scott McTominay, whose contracts will end as well. Bruno Fernandes has 2 more years, so there's a lot to decide and there's a lot to go in on. But moving across to Bruno Fernandes from what Wayne Rooney said and that interview with Sky, I want to get your thoughts on this one. Manchester United have to want me to stay, in Bruno's words. They were his exact words. Isaac with another super chat. The thing about you is you respect viewers. Of course I do, mate. And I will be coming to the viewers and all of the comments in the chats right after this next bit. But that interview for me was basically Bruno Fernandes saying to the football club, I want to be at Manchester United. I want to stay here. I want to be part of this club. You could see last night his importance to the team, how different Manchester United play, the chances that we create. We posed a question yesterday regarding Bruno Fernandes. If 70 million comes in, I stand by it still. The club have to listen to that offer. I just think last night it proved that he is worth the money. And if a astronomical fee comes in, Manchester United can do a lot with that. Because let's not forget, Bruno Fernandes hasn't been perfect this season. He hasn't been an outstanding player. He's been very good and probably best of a bad bunch in terms of senior players at the football club this season, I would say. He's held his own and his numbers have held up. Can we afford to let Bruno go at a very big price? Only if another player coming in with the same sort of numbers and quality as Bruno can be brought in. Incredibly difficult. We discussed that yesterday. But Bruno doesn't want to go. Let's get that clear. He is thinking of his future. He does want to win trophies. I think he needs to see some ambition from Ineos. He needs to see what the plan is and know where United are going forward, I think, Bruno Fernandes. That's what I took from that little interview. And everything else that's been going on this week with Bruno. The rumours about the players coming out saying, we're not sure about Bruno, which way he's going to go. The interview he did with the Portuguese ESPN, Portuguese DAZN it was, about Manchester United. He will think about his future after the Euros and the FA Cup. Just for him to be having them conversations alone are concerning for big Bruno fans at the football club. And it's strange for a player like Bruno, who we know loves Manchester United, to come out and say. So it's, for me, I feel up to the football club, up to Ineos now. Which way are they going? I think Bruno would have been sold this summer if Manchester United were being run well and we had a structured squad, a rotation system in place, and that was all there. I think Bruno would have gone. I can't see him going simply because we don't have the money and capabilities to replace him straight away, and there's too much unrest, and we need some senior figures in this squad to bring through what is being reported are a very youthful restructure of Manchester United. Certain profile of players at a certain age are being touted to coming into the football club, and I think this is where we need to look at it and go, right, okay, if we are getting rid of the deadwood and this so-called overhaul is going to happen, we have to be careful of the senior players that do leave. Like Rooney's right, it does need to happen, and it can't happen in one summer. It has to happen over a couple of years. I think Rooney realises that the young players can't do it on their own. I think everyone can see that. But we've also got to understand that there are players at this football club that don't want to help the younger players as well. And that's the difficult part of getting this overhaul started, and what we do, who we get rid of in the first summer and the second summer. We're relying on a manager getting more and developing this team next season so we can do more in that outgoing section next summer as well. We have to rely on this manager getting United, first of all, back into Europe, because we're not going to be in Europe, I don't think, this season. Just honestly, like, the game last night gave me loads of encouragement, but I have to keep my realist hat on and say it does look very unlikely that we will have European football next season. It does. The game again last night could have gone either way. We were just on the right end of it. At least we were actually in a game and it wasn't dull and we looked like we couldn't create anything. That wasn't the case last night. It was encouraging because we went toe-to-toe with Newcastle and we came out on top of a very, very close game that could have gone either way. We need to remember that. We've never been the best team by a country mile in any win that we've had this season. We've just been happy that we've competed and we got a result. And against Brighton, against Manchester City, if we play like that, yeah, you might get that end of the result. You might get that bit of luck and we might be in Europe come the end of this season. But the chances are the quality and the consistency of the opposition is going to dictate that we lose that FA Cup final. Like, looking at it, you would say City are nailed on favourites for it. So let's not get ahead of ourselves after last night. Next season is vital for whoever the manager is. And I agree with Rooney about the players that need to go. I'd say half this summer, half next summer is the more realistic look on Manchester United and the overhaul of Ineos. Like, how brutal are they going to be? I'm going to read some extracts from what the Muppeteers were putting out yesterday as well, which went under the radar because of the game. I'll get your thoughts on that as well regarding what goes forward for Manchester United. But I'm coming into the chat just to see where you guys are at. Rosanante, Bruno is generally very considered in what he says. He seemed a bit flappable last night. He seemed a bit emotional to me. We have already paid a large loan fee. May as well keep him. We have to spend another 21 million to keep Amrabat. Does that sway you away from keeping him, or do you want that natural replacement? Having seen him play a couple of games against some good opposition as well in Newcastle and Arsenal, he moved the ball very well, and he held his own last night. So, could you say 21 million spent on that? On Amrabat is money well spent, or do we need the younger profile player? Do any of us want the fresh start? What's the best way to go? Still, 69, near 70% of you are saying you would spend that 21 million and keep Amrabat at the team, in the squad. The back four is crazy bad, says Holly. It's on the manager, though, to say why he was discarded all season. I think Kaz is replying to someone there regarding why Ahmad has not had the game time he deserves. Amrabat should be released. Anyone can run about for 2 games a season. No baldies should be left in the club. Amrabat on low wage and performance-based bonuses. You still got to pay the 21 million. Like, let's not forget, in terms of Manchester United's coffers, there isn't much. There really isn't much for us to go with. Is it worth spending 21 million? Truth Wins says 21 million bargain. Mr. Dacia Sandero. Hi, Adam. Hope you're doing well. Amrabat absolutely should be bought. Watched him a few times playing for Fiorentina, and he was solid for them. We need players like him to do the simple things well. Now, Amrabat playing in his normal position is different to Amrabat playing all over the place. In that destroyer holding midfield role, he is very, very good. He can sit in and act as another centre-back. Yes, he's not the quickest. He doesn't get as much time on the ball as you do in Italy, in Serie A, like he did at Fiorentina, but he still needed an opportunity, which I don't think he got in a consistent run of games. No one really gets 5 or 6 games in a row these days. Like, the players that are on the cusp or not quite never seem to be able to get it because the pressure's that much on the manager, you're not going to see it. I'm still in the Amrabat we can get better category for me still. I always said he's good. Erik Ten Hag was playing him out of place. That's on Erik Ten Hag. Again, another slant at the manager from Jordan there regarding Amrabat. Amrabat looked well off the pace to me. As for Bruno, we have got to sell him. I think we could get over 50 million for what I see as nothing special, says Gehun. Not liking Bruno. Even with them numbers, Gehun. I know people say he's a stat monster and that's all he is. You could see the difference last night. Like Crystal Palace and Arsenal with no Bruno. Man United looked shocking. Man United with Bruno in against Newcastle. Yes, it's not perfect, but it's a hell of a lot better. I don't like fans giving Rashford abuse at the stadium. What's wrong? But that's wrong. But can see fans have had enough? Yeah, they clearly have, Kaz. Ahmad has been injured at the start of the season only, but fit for the last 2 months at least. Niall's in the chat. If he plays the next 2 games and performs just as well, I wouldn't be averse to keeping him. Italian football is slower, of course, but he's never had a run of games here. Depends on the budget. That regarding Amrabat. Well said, probably, yeah. Is he going to play him against City, though? This is the big one. Like, the big game's coming up. It's all right, Ten Hag saying you're the best fans in the world and giving the big hoo-ha speech last night. So many people fell for it. Like, I keep to my original thoughts. Now I judge a season. Like, I judge what I watch on the pitch. That's it. Results, the table. You can see the table at the bottom of your screen there. We're still in the minus goal difference. We're 8th in the bleeding league. We need to beat Brighton to make this not the worst season ever for Manchester United in the Premier League in its existence. So let's not forget the whole season. By the way, I don't know if you've seen the vlogs last night. I made the point of saying, look, all the injuries weren't brought up last night because United won. Do you know what I mean by that? It's like, you can make something happen with the squad that you've got, even with the multitude of injuries that you've got. So should we be curbing that excuse factor for this game? Why wasn't it brought up last night? I know we had the whole hurrah and everyone just wanted to be positive because we've been starved of anything positive for a long time, and everyone got carried away a bit with it last night. But I guarantee if we get spanked by Brighton, them excuses will come back out again. It's not on. You cannot have it both ways. I was really happy last night. He just needs to own it, Ten Hag. Stop making excuses and own it, for God's sake. You actually made something happen last night, Eric. So what's the excuse for the rest of the season? There is none. Just go with the positive. Like, you have got good players. You just weren't prepared to use them because you trusted in other players that you're convinced were going to be able to work for you that haven't. But he doesn't want to own that, and that's the problem I've got with a lot of what Ten Hag does. It's never his fault. We have some new members in the house donated by, of course, the legend that is Modern Samurai. Thank you, my man. Love it. They have gone to Gareth, B-Lord, Cheryl, sorry. I think that's a Chelsea. Is that a Chelsea fan? Lincoln Richards and Brian Amens. Welcome. Welcome, everyone. And thank you again. Please get in the chat and thank Modern Samurai, who has just dropped a super chat in as well. Thank you, my man. One game does not a manager make a player for that manner or matter. Eric Ten Hag and the players don't get a pass for this win. No, consistency gets a pass. Consistently winning and going right up that table when we should have been gets a pass. A game when you know everyone's going to be watching, everyone's going to be looking at Ten Hag, and everyone is going to be staying behind after the game. The big occasion, we brought out the youth team. We mentioned the women's team. Everyone's lifting trophies. It would have been embarrassing for United to completely capitulate. Well, the women's team and the youth teams are all doing so well, and then the first team go and absolutely just shit the bed and put on a shower. There was no way that was going to happen last night. No way. Back into the chat we go. Radu, in a summer where we need so much keeping Amrabat on a 3 or 4 year deal on low wages as a backup CDM and get a first team CDM would be a smart move. United Spotlight, we lost 12 other games with Bruno. He not that valuable to us. He was in the last few games anyway. Say what you want about Bruno Fernandes. The debate is well and truly open. We are a better team with him. Yes, we do lose games with him as well. It's just the way it is at Manchester United. Right now, we're looking at a situation of who is decent enough to keep in the team. Can we get better for 21 mil? It's a new transfer window, so forget what we paid already. It's going to be interesting, like Mark says there in the chat, like what this transfer window brings valuation-wise. Is it going to be like other transfer windows? Is it going to be the same, the inflated prices and everything like that? I don't know. It's kind of intriguing to see where it goes. AJ has just renewed his membership. Second month for AJ. Thank you very much, mates. Really appreciate that, buddy. Everyone who has been a member or been donated a membership, you guys have been awesome. Thank you so much. I love it when you get all bossy, Janchester. I don't know what conversation you guys are having, but steady on. Let's get a room if need be. Adam, if City win the league and cup, we will be in the Europa League. If I am wrong, please explain why. Thank you. Henry, we won't be. We'll be completely out of Europe because Aston Villa did not win the conference. That's why. United would have been in if we'd have come second, if we'd have been runners-up in the FA Cup, if Aston Villa had won the Conference League. So now that extra place doesn't get taken down. Villa have taken the 4th Champions League spot. If they'd have won the Conference League, then they wouldn't have been in it. So it gets passed down again to another team in the Premier League, therefore pushing the Europa League down, I think. So we could have finished in the Conference League, finishing 8th in the league. But that's gone. It's normal standings as it is. There is 2 Europa League teams from the Premier League. There is a conference team and 4 Champions League teams. That's it. Unless United win the FA Cup. That's all we're getting. So United are out of Europe altogether if we do not beat Manchester City. We can beat Brighton. If Manchester United better Newcastle's result this weekend, we will be guaranteed Conference League. We can't get in the Europa League through league standings anymore. It's done. We cannot catch Chelsea. It is mathematically possible, but I just can't see United beating Brighton by 16 goals or more and hope that Chelsea don't get a draw at home to Bournemouth at Stamford Bridge off the back of one defeat in 13 or 14, I think it is, Chelsea now. So, no, Europa League is gone unless we beat City. Just to break it down, I think that's enough. I watched all United fan channels because I love the different opinions. Headphones on, head down, loving live. Ten Hag in for me, says Daz. Thank you, Daz. Muppet Show, lads, we're not the club we think we are. How better than Amrabat do you think we're going to get? Let's get real. We don't know. There could be a little sneaky transfer in the pipeline. You just don't know what ineos have got planned, do you? We have to win the final, then we will be in Europe. Yes, we will. Stu in with a super chat with that mug on show. I love that one, mate. Amrabat had no pre-season, played out of position all season. 21 million is pennies for him. Baller. Oh, Stu is fully convinced that Amrabat is worth keeping at the football club. We haven't beaten Brighton of Albion in 2 seasons. We haven't beat Brighton at their place since lockdown. That should tell you everything you need to know. We have never beaten them with fans in the stadium. I've been there for the last 2 games. We haven't scored a goal. We've been beaten 4 and 1-0 in both in them games. I haven't got much confidence going into this except the season's over. Brighton can't get any better than where they are right now. How much are they with their depleted squad and their injuries as well? Let's not forget, are they up for it? I mean, they've got to put on a show for the fans in the last game of the season. That's my only concern. Manchester United don't sit on this result against Newcastle thinking that everything's all right because we scored 3 goals and we actually did look like an attacking threat. Like Brighton are a different proposition to Newcastle altogether. They keep the ball. Manchester United have to find a way of hitting an energetic, even if there is injuries, Brighton side. If he changes this team, then it's on Ten Hag. I would be keeping this same team. I'd make a few adjustments. Obviously, Martinez comes in for Casemiro. And then the question is, does Casemiro drop out and Amrabat plays in midfield? I cannot see him not playing Casemiro. Therefore, Amrabat will be relegated back to the bench. And a lot of people won't be happy with that. Guys, give the video a like, please. Almost at that 100 mark. Thanks for joining us today. The morning after show, you could say, after a decent performance. And everyone is a little bit more chilled. I'm going to read up on some stuff regarding plans for the future in the summer. And that being from the Muppeteers. I promised you at the start of the show, because this went under the radar a little bit with the football and everything that was going on yesterday. But Manchester United's executive team, including Colette Roach, Jason Wilcox, David Brailsford, Jean-Claude Blanc, Roger Bell and Sir Jim Radcliffe, met in Monaco yesterday. The meeting was significant to finalise key decisions and work on upcoming summer plans. That probably being the stadium and recruitment. More onto that. Manchester United are setting things up with players and agents for the transfer business ahead of the summer window. They are working on things very, very fast. The club are ready to kick things off as soon as the season ends. I told you, we are, guys, on Sunday, 1 week away from hellfire. Everything going off. This is the summer we've been waiting for. This is the summer that has been touted to be the biggest and most important in Manchester United's history. We say that every single summer, I know. But this one is. We're 10 days away from everything being done this season, getting the decision on the manager's situation, finding out if Dan Ashworth is going to be coming to United and what players we realistically are looking at. And most importantly, like Wayne Rooney said yesterday, which players are going to believe in Manchester United? That is key, and that is going to be happening in 10 days' time. Whoa, get excited. Get excited. Whichever way you look at it, I think Manchester United fans as a whole now are just looking forward to what does look like real change. It does, like significant change that we've not seen going on 2 decades worth now. Like, the Glazers, the only time we're going to see the Glazers is when there's some posh plush cup finals to go to at Wembley. That's it. Now, if we keep making finals, obviously we're going to see a lot more of the ugly mushies. But I don't mind that because that means United are being successful. And I hate saying that because their name comes in the same sentence as I don't mind it. I do, of course I do. I hate the Glazers, like every other Manchester United fan. But I just feel, and this is the intriguing bit for me, is like, how much power do ineos have? And that will only be answered. They're not going to tell us exactly how much. That's only going to be answered by significant decisions that are made when this season finishes. And that is why I feel a little bit more optimistic. And it's like anticipation factor right now. Like, going into the summer is just like full on, what's going to happen? It's like waiting for the next episode of a box set that you've been going through. It's like you just want to know. You want to get there quicker. You're like, just get through this. Let's just binge this last week of the season and get to the summer, because I want to know what decisions are going to be made. I cannot wait to see what players are leaving this football club. Honestly, we were talking to so many people. It's like you cannot even look at players to bring into Manchester United. Yeah, we've touched on a few briefly in shows over the last few weeks, but all anyone is interested in is which idiots, which duckeggs are out of this football club. That's the important thing. Better to have no European football at all to let Big Jim cover the difference financially. He's got the money, so he says. Paying for the failures of the Glazers, that's got to hurt though, Sim. Has to. I cannot wait for this horrendous season to be over. Malcolm, with you. Henry says, did you notice when Højlund was given the ball, he scored, and who passed the ball to him? Shows you being in the graveyard shift, doesn't it help, Adam? Well, Højlund without Bruno, definitely significant on the numbers. Højlund with him, it just helps people create more. I think Bruno's infectious in that whole creative part of Manchester United's team. But I was really happy for Højlund that he sort of created more of that himself. That was him working on the edge of the box rather than the assist, I think. A strong turn-in, good finish. And like we said at the top of the show, 15 for the season. You cannot ignore that. That's decent numbers for a young lad coming into Manchester United in his first season. I mean, you look at some of the superstars that have come in and been in better squads, have got nowhere near them numbers. And I just think that people are completely overreacting with him. I do. Like, you give young players time and give them the right support, then they will make it. Again, like, who leaves this summer is massive for that. Let me see what else we've got in here now. Mark's in there. We are all sat here waiting for the end of days, but in the heads thinking nothing will change. Glazer out. We are. It has to, doesn't it, though? Daryl Hart, welcome to the Members Club. The Honest Tiger donating that membership. Thank you, Honest Tiger. Again, you absolute legend, mate. Daryl, make sure you give a big thank you to the Honest Tiger as well. He does it all the time. Good to have him here on the channel, along with everyone else who contributes. Sim. Well, Adam, Big Jim jumps in bed with the Glazers. It was his own call, so if it cost him, so what? Hey, I totally get where you're coming from, mate. I do. Liam, I can see the positive spin already. First team to have won Champions League, Europa League, and European Conference League. Trevor Ansbro, welcome to the Members Club, who has just joined as well. Thank you very much, mate. Please enjoy all the members' perks that come with it, including TIFO, our watch-along station. You will see now, Trevor, being a member, you can jump across on the channel to the members-only videos, where you can see some extra stuff and extra footage of what is going on regarding watch-along stuff as well. Big plans for the new season, guys. All will be revealed to everybody in the coming months. So looking forward to that. Hunter says, Højlund should have never been prime striker. He's young, needs a mentor. United's recruitment that messes that up. I've spun off from what team I wanted to play, because I would drop McTominay, put Bruno in that role, and bring Højlund back in for him. I would put Martinez in for Casemiro alongside Evans, and then move Casemiro to the bench and bring him on. That's what I would do right now, and I would keep the same team. Ahmad last night was absolutely outstanding, I thought. Outstanding. And do you know what? He showed a willingness and an eagerness and the energy levels that we've not seen all season from anyone in that front line. Yeah, you can say Rasmus, you can say Garnacho, but I think Ahmad looks after the ball better than Rasmus and Garnacho. And then when you've got that, it gives the rest of the players confidence around him, like Kobbie Mainoo, who had a good game again last night. And Bruno can start passing the ball in and fizzing balls in to players. Like, it is infectious. Positivity is infectious. Negativity is even more infectious. And unfortunately, that's what's been the dominant party this season for Manchester United. It's like players like Marcus Rashford, players like Antony, spitting the dummies out, bitching, moaning constantly all season. That spreads quicker than the positive side of Manchester United's game. And there was a lot of positives last night for me. I just don't think the manager has got the capabilities to continually get that out of these players, because he will chop and change and play favourite players. And that's been his downfall. No matter what he says with injuries and stuff, he's always put his favourite players in. And that was proven last night when we had two centre-backs there, but Casemiro has to play. We had McTominay up front. We had two centre-forwards on the bench. Yeah, one of them was Marcus Rashford, and that sort of like counters my argument on that side. But still, he could have played Rasmus Højlund. I mean, in the end, it looked like the right decision from Ten Hag, because Rasmus came on a bit fresher and now should be starting the game against Brighton. He'll then get a full week's rest and recovery ahead of the Manchester derby in the FA Cup final a week on Sunday. So it looks like Ten Hag has pulled one out of the hat really last night. But then again, guys, not to try and put the negative slant on it again, but it could have gone the other way. Like the last-ditch tackle from Ambat, that changes the game completely. That one-on-one that Anana saved, the cross across the box, the penalty that probably should have been given. It was a very, very close game. It probably deserved to be a 5-5 with the chances that were created. It was a fantastic game to watch. I really enjoyed the football last night. I did. For the first time in a long time, I sat there in Old Trafford actually excited about what we were watching. And Newcastle played their part in that. They did. Niall says, Amrabat, Mainoo, Casemiro should be the midfield trio for City, with Bruno, Ahmad and Garnacho advanced to give us a chance. I'm sure Eric Ten Hag will revert to his stubborn ways, though. So you would keep Højlund out and play Bruno as the false 9, is what you're saying. 4-3-3. Full out 4-3-3. It almost sounds like you want us to keep losing. He's talking to boxing. You have to be happy when your team wins. Yeah, I think everyone's happy. Everyone is buzzing with last night. Adam, did you call for Ahmad to go on loan last January? I did. If he wasn't getting game time, I did, mate. This was the worry, and that's the worry I've got with Ten Hag. That proves the point that I have got. Because I know when everyone's fit, Ahmad will probably sit it out on the bench with Ten Hag. That's what I don't want. He has done nothing to convince me that he is going to play performance over reputation. That's the worry I've got with Ten Hag. Whether or not he's going to change, I don't know. I'm going off what I've seen. And what I've seen is I'd have definitely sent Ahmad out on loan, because I just didn't see him getting the game time. I didn't. Antony's ahead of him. Rashford was ahead of him. Last night, for the first time, Ten Hag prioritised performance, I thought, over everything else. Rasmus hasn't been playing well. Bruno was due back, and Bruno was in form before he got injured. McTominay has been effective. I didn't understand that. Amrabat has been due a couple of games. He played well against Arsenal, so we have to say, look, he probably deserved to be in that game last night after his performance against Arsenal, one of his better games. And actually, it looked natural holding midfielder. So last night was encouraging in so many ways. I just don't see it being sustainable. We cannot play that way. It's hellfire, heavy metal football, gun-ho, crazy, kamikaze football. That's what it was. You attack, we attack, you attack, we attack. It could have gone either way. We were on the end of the right result. There's nothing sustainable in that style of football. But what he did find last night were little things that do work going forward. Now, you've got a natural holding midfielder in Amrabat. You'll have centre-backs coming back into position in Martinez and then have Johnny Evans and Martinez. I want to see that partnership. That Johnny Evans this season has been Man United's best defender when you look at games and performances. And to have Martinez coming back next to him, that gives me a little bit of confidence going into the last 2 games. It really does. So I look at that and I go, right, okay, there's your base. Martinez and Evans, 2 fullbacks. They're the only fullbacks we've got available, so we have to play them. And then in midfield, you've got Amrabat. Is he going to learn from what he's watched and keep Amrabat in position? A natural holding midfielder. Casemiro starts to drift a little bit for me. Amrabat won't. He's very, very disciplined in his position. So that is where I would play him over Casemiro right now. Going off form, yeah, you could say form is temporary, class is permanent. But right now we've got 2 games left. We need players that are actually confident. And Amrabat is. He said it last night. He's still not at his best, but he feels like he is getting closer. So that would be that midfield. I would bring in, obviously, Mainoo's going to stay there. He showed last night with a settled system and a structured team that he can prosper from it. And then you're looking at Bruno Fernandes, who has to play with Ahmad in front of him, Højlund in front of him, and Garnacho. That is as energetic as you can get in a midfield. Whether or not you want to pack out the midfield and play Bruno as a false 9, that's debatable. Completely debatable amongst fan base. I can totally see both sides of it. But he has to play players that are in form. That's the only way I think Ten Hag survives. And learn from your mistakes. Prove to us that you are adaptable. He adapted last night. For the first time I've seen him adapt all season. And he wasn't relying on individual brilliance. There were so many players that were working together in a system last night that worked for us. Yes, against Newcastle, who are quite open and attack-minded. Can you adapt to other games as well? Brighton is going to be a perfect opportunity to see if Ten Hag has learned anything in what he can get out of this squad. All our best players have had great loans. Have they? Who's been out on loan then? All our best players have had great loans. I'm not sure what you mean by that one, Matt. It's like the players we've sent out on loan now, as like Alvaro, Sancho, Palestra, people like this. Greenwood. Is that what you mean, Mark? Before we finish up, let me know, mate. I think it's more the players around Bruno. He's always performs for Portugal. Yes, he does. Definitely, Reese. Am I the only one who actually thought Newcastle looked better than us? Mad some views on games by people. I pretty much said it was an even game, boxing. For me, it could have gone either way. If Newcastle would have won, I wouldn't have been surprised. They had clear-cut chances. Probably more clear-cut chances than United. They had more shots than Manchester United. And Onana had to make more saves. Let's be clear, there were a lot more last-ditch tackles. Let's not forget Casemiro headed one off the line. Amrabat's last-ditch tackle went off the bar. Gordon across the box. Gordon getting the penalty. Clean through on goal off Onana's shoulder. It could have been one of them nights. And we officially announced last night in our performance, this team has the worst defensive record in Premier League history for Manchester United in conceding them goals last night. We conceded more goals this season in the Premier League than any other. I think we've conceded more goals overall this season. I think in a long time. I think 6 decades, I think it was. I've seen a quote come up. That's a lot. It shows how bad we've been. He's going to straight away use injuries as the excuse on that one. But no one talks about the defence if you're scoring goals. And no one talks about the defence and the injuries you've got if you're brave. And last night United were braver. Because we just said then the chances we gave up are clear that we did take risks last night. But the fans will appreciate that. In a way, it was a get out of free jail card, the game last night, really, because like no one was expecting much, and it was just like a free hit. Go out and attack, and then if we lost the game, everyone could have just said, "Yeah, we still competed." We did. For me, last night, I was just happy that we actually had we had a goal. We had a goal last night. We didn't sit in there and try and defend. We didn't back off when we scored goals. It was good to see. It was good to see. You learn from different type of football and football rules. Beckham, but Scholes. I don't know what he's talking about there, Mark. He must be talking to someone. Gordon was best player on the pitch for me. Looking at it in a non-biased way, Gordon was the best player on the pitch last night. He was phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. I praised him in my vlog after the game. That guy needs to be going to the Euros. Definitely ahead of Rashford. Outstanding he was last night. 5 more memberships in the bag from Modern Samurai, Giorgio B, Peter Beham, FCAA, AF Training, and Ace Boogie. Welcome to the Members Club, guys. Fantastic. Modern Samurai, thank you again, mate. Legend of the channel. Love that. Also, guys, we may be doing an earlier show tonight because it is my brother's birthday, and I am out tonight. So we may be doing the show around about the 5 o'clock mark or something like that. So I'll keep you posted. I'll put a post up when it's coming up, guys. Do apologise if it gets in the way of anyone's scheduling or anything like that. It's just needs must. I'm out quite early tonight, so yeah, it will be an earlier show for you guys, more than likely. Anyway, but for today's show, that is pretty much it. Thank you so much, everybody. All the contributions, 12 new members, super chats, everyone who liked the video, and all of your comments. Again, absolutely bang on the money. Thank you so much, guys. Brilliant. Keep liking the video. Hit the subscribe button, guys. Come on, hit that subscribe button, please. Let's get up to that 45k mark. We're creeping up and up and up. Less than what? We're about 730 away from hitting that 45k mark. So please do give it a like, guys. Download our SofaScore app. All of the stats that we were talking about in the show today came from them. It's completely free, guys. There is a link in the description if you can't use that QR code on the screen bottom right there. QR code also on the screen for Optimally Meet, our health partners. Go and check them out, guys. Honestly, it is brilliant what they can do and what stress they can take out of any doctor's appointment. Go and check them out on what tests they've got. Use my discount code to help you out as well with that. And that is us all finished. Thank you, guys. Loved it. Great contributions and interactions after what was a decent night for United. Nice change than what it's been for the last few weeks. Have a good one, people. I'll post up later when the afternoon show is going to be. It will be earlier today, though. I promise you that. Thank you, guys. I'll see